Now let's study the Companies Act 2013. Act number 18 of 2013. An act to consolidate and amend the law relating to companies, be it enacted by Parliament in the 64th year of the Republic of India as follows. So let's study chapter 1 in this video. Preliminary. According to section 1, short title, extent, commencement and application. This act may be called the Companies Act 2013 is the short title. It extends to the whole of India. This section shall come into force at once, and the remaining provisions of this act shall come into force on such date as the central government may by notification in the official gazette appoint, and different dates may be appointed for different provisions of this act, and any reference in any provision to the commencement of this act shall be construed as a reference to the coming into force of that provision. So under section 1, the subsections 1, 2 and 3 states the short title, extent, commencement. Subsection 4 states the provisions of this act shall apply to companies incorporated under this act or under any previous company law, insurance companies, except in so far as the said provisions are inconsistent with the provisions of the Insurance Act 1938. Banking companies, except in so far as the said provisions are inconsistent with the provisions of Banking Regulations Act 1949. Companies engaged in the supply of electricity, except in so far as the said provisions are inconsistent with the provisions of Electricity Act 2003. Subclause E states any other company governed by any special act for the time being in force, except in so far as the said provisions are inconsistent with the provisions of such special act. Such body corporate incorporated by any act for the time being in force as the central government by notification specify in this behalf, subject to such expectations, modifications and adaptation as may be specified in the notification. Now, section 2 gives a list of definitions. In this act, unless the context otherwise requires, we should follow the meaning of the terms given in definitions throughout the Companies Act 2013. These are subsections. Section 2, subsection 1 gives the definition of abridged prospectus. Abridged prospectus means a memorandum containing such salient feature of a prospectus as may be specified by the Securities and Exchange Board of India by making regulations in this behalf. Subsection 2 states accounting standards means the standards of accounting or any addendum thereto for companies or classes of companies referred to in section 133. Term alter or alteration includes the making of additions, omissions and substitutions. The term appellate tribunal means the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal constituted under section 410. Articles means articles of association of a company as originally framed or as altered from time to time or applied in pursuance of any previous company law of this Act. Subsection 6 states, associate company in relation to another company means a company in which that other company has a significant influence but which is not a subsidiary company of the company having such influence and includes a joint venture company. Explanation: for the purpose of this clause, significant influence means control of at least 20% of share capital or of business decisions under an agreement. Auditing standards means the standards of auditing or any addendum thereto for companies or class of companies referred to in subsection 10 of section 143. Authorized capital or nominal capital means share capital as is authorized by the memorandum of a company to be the maximum amount of share capital of the company. Banking company means a banking company as defined in clause C of section 5 of the Banking Regulation Act 1949. Board of directors or board in relation to a company means the collective body of the directors of the company. Body corporate or corporation includes a company incorporated outside India but does not include a cooperative society registered under any law relating to cooperative societies and any other body corporate not being a company as defined in this Act, which the central government may by notification specify in this behalf. The term book and paper and book or paper include books of account, deeds, vouchers, writings, documents, minutes and registers maintained on paper or in electronic form. Books of account includes records maintained in respect of all sums of money received and expended by a company and matters in relation to which the receipts and expenditure take place. All sales and purchases of goods and services by the company, the assets and liabilities of the company, and the items of cost as may be prescribed under section 148 in the case of a company which belongs to any class of companies specified under that section. Branch office. Branch office in relation to a company means any establishment described as such by the company. Called up capital means such part of the capital which has been called for payment. Charge means an interest or lien created on the property or assets of a company or any of its undertakings or both as security and includes a mortgage. The term chartered accountant means a chartered accountant as defined in clause B of subsection 1 of section 1 of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 who holds a valid certificate of practice. Chief Executive Officer means an officer of a company who has been designated as such by it. Chief Financial Officer means a person appointed as the Chief Financial Officer of a company. The term company means a company incorporated under this Act or under any previous company law. Companies limited by guarantee means a company having the liability of its members limited by the memorandum to such amount as the members may respectively undertake to contribute to the assets of the company in the event of being wound up. Company limited by shares means a company having the liability of its members limited by the memorandum to the amount, if any, unpaid on the shares respectively held by them. Company liquidator, insofar as it relates to the winding up of a company, means a person appointed by the tribunal in case of winding up by the tribunal, or the company or creditors in case of voluntary winding up. As a company liquidator from a panel of professionals maintained by the central government under subsection 2 of section 275. The term company secretary or secretary means a company secretary as defined in clause C of subsection 1 of section 2 of the Company Secretaries Act 1980, who is appointed by a company to perform the functions of a company secretary under this act. Company secretary in practice means a company secretary who is deemed to be in practice under subsection 2 of section 2 of the Company Secretaries Act 1980. The term contributory means a person liable to contribute towards the assets of the company in the event of being wound up. Explanation. For the purpose of this clause, it is hereby clarified that a person holding fully paid up shares in a company shall be considered as a contributory but shall have no liabilities of a contributory under the Act whilst retaining rights of such a contributory. Section 27. Control shall include the right to appoint majority of the directors or to control the management or policy decisions exercisable by a person or persons acting individually or in concert, directly or indirectly, including by virtue of their shareholding or management rights or shareholders' agreements or voting agreements, or in any other manner. The term cost accountant means a cost accountant as defined in clause B of subsection 1 of section 2 of the Cost and Works Accountant Act 1959. The term court means the High Court having jurisdiction in relation to the place at which the registered office of the company concerned is situate, except to the extent to which jurisdiction has been conferred on any district court or district court subordinate to that High Court under subclause 2. The district court, in cases where the central government has, by notification, empowered any district court to exercise all or any of the jurisdictions conferred upon the High Court within the scope of its jurisdiction in respect of a company whose registered office is situate in the district. The Court of Session having jurisdiction to try any offence under this Act or under any previous company law. The special court established under section 435. Any metropolitan magistrate or a judicial magistrate of the first class having jurisdiction to try any offence under this Act or under any previous company law. The term debenture includes debenture stock, bonds, or any other instrument of a company evidencing a debt, whether constituting a charge on the assets of the company or not. The term deposit includes any receipt of money by way of deposit or loan or in any other form by a company, but does not include such categories of amount as may be prescribed in consultation with the Reserve Bank of India. Term depository means a depository as defined in clause E of subsection 1 of section 2 of the Depositories Act 1996. The term derivative means the derivative as defined in clause of section 2 of the Securities Contract Regulation Act 1956. Director means a director appointed to the board of a company. The term dividend includes any interim dividend. Document includes summons, notice, requisition, order, declaration, form and register. Whether issued, sent or kept in pursuance of this act or under any other law for the time being in force or otherwise maintained on paper or in electronic form. Employee stock option means the option given to the directors, officers or employees of a company or of its holding company or subsidiary company or companies if any, which gives such directors, officers or employees the benefit or right to purchase or to subscribe for the shares of the company at a future date at a predetermined price. The term expert includes an engineer, a valuer, a chartered accountant, a company secretary, a cost accountant, and any other person who has the power or authority to issue a certificate in pursuance of any law for the time being in force. The term financial institution includes a scheduled bank or any other financial institution defined or notified under the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. Financial statement. The term financial statement in relation to a company includes a balance sheet as at the end of the financial year, a profit and loss account, or in the case of a company carrying on any activity not for profit, an income and expenditure account, cash flow statement for the financial year, a statement of changes in equity if applicable, any explanatory note annexed to or forming part of any document referred to in subclause to subclause 4, subclause 1 to subclause 4, provided that the financial statement with respect to one-person company, small company and dormant company may not include cash flow statement. One-person company, small company, dormant company may not include the cash flow statement. The term financial year in relation to any company or body corporate means the period ending on the 31st day of March every year and where it has been incorporated on or after the first day of January of a year, the period ending on the 31st day of March of the following year in respect whereof financial statement of the company or body corporate is made up, provided that on an application made by a company or body corporate which is a holding company or a subsidiary of a company incorporated outside India and is required to follow a different financial year for consolidation of its accounts outside India, the tribunal may, if it is satisfied, allow any period as its financial year, whether or not that period is a year. Provided further that a company or body corporate existing on the commencement of this Act shall, within a period of 2 years from such commencement, align its financial year as per the provisions of this clause. The term foreign company means any company or body corporate incorporated outside India which has a place of business in India, whether by itself or through an agent, physically or through electronic mode. and conducts any business activity in India in any other manner. Free reserves. The term free reserves means such reserves which, as per the latest audited balance sheet of a company, are available for distribution of dividend. Free reserves are available for distribution of dividend, provided that any amount representing unrealized gains, notional gains, revaluation of assets, whether shown as a reserve or otherwise, any change in the carrying amount of an asset or of a liability recognized in equity, including surplus in profit and loss account on measurement of the asset or the liability at fair value, shall not be treated as free reserves. So it's clear that free reserves is for distribution of dividend, and unrealized gains, notional gains, revaluation of assets, carrying amount of asset or liability shall not be treated as free reserves. Global depository receipt means any instrument in the form of a depository receipt, by whatever name called, created by a foreign depository outside India and authorized by a company making an issue of such depository receipts. Government company means any company in which not less than 51% of the paid up share capital. 51% of the paid up share capital is held by the central government, state government, partly by central or partly by one or more state governments, and includes a company which is a subsidiary company of a government company. The term holding company. Holding company in relation to one or more other companies means a company of which such companies are subsidiary companies. The term independent director means an independent director referred to in subsection 6 of section 149. Subsection 48 defines Indian depository receipt, means any instrument in the form of a depository receipt created by a domestic depository in India and unauthorized by a company incorporated outside India making an issue of such depository receipts. Interested director means a director who is in any way, whether by himself or through any of his relatives or firm, body corporate or other association of individuals in which he or any of his relatives is a partner, director or a member interested in a contract or arrangement or proposed contract or arrangement entered into or to be entered into by or on behalf of a company. Issued capital means such capital as the company issues from time to time for subscription. Out of total authorized capital, issued capital is issued for subscription. The term key managerial personnel in relation to a company means the chief executive officer, CEO, or the managing director, MD, or the manager, the company secretary, the whole-time director, the CFO, chief financial officer, and such other officer as may be prescribed. The term listed company means a company which has any of its securities listed on any recognized stock exchanges, National Stock Exchange, Bombay Stock Exchange, or any regional stock exchanges or recognized stock exchanges. The term manager means an individual who, subject to the superintendent's control and direction of the board of directors, has the management of the whole or substantially the whole of the affairs of a company, and includes a director or any other person occupying the position of a manager by whatever name called, whether under a contract or service or not. According to section 2 subsection 54, the term managing director means a director who, by virtue of the articles of the company or an agreement with the company or a resolution passed in its general meeting or by its board of directors, is entrusted with substantial powers of management of the affairs of the company, and includes a director occupying the position of managing director by whatever name called. Explanation: for the purpose of this clause, the power to do administrative acts of a routine nature when so authorized by the board, such as the power to affix the common seal of the company to any document or to draw and endorse any check on the account of the company in any bank, or to draw and endorse any negotiable instrument, or to sign any certificate of share, or to direct registration of transfer of share, shall not be deemed to be included within the substantial powers of management. The term member in relation to a company means the subscriber to the memorandum of the company, who shall be deemed to have agreed to become member of the company, and on its registration shall be entered as member in its register of members. Every other person who agrees in writing to become a member of the company and whose name is entered in the register of members of the company. Every person holding shares of the company and whose name is entered as a beneficial owner in the records of a depository. The term memorandum means the memorandum of association of a company as originally framed or as altered from time to time in pursuance of any previous company law of this act. The term net worth means the aggregate value of the paid up share capital and all reserves created out of the profits, and securities premium account after deducting the aggregate value of accumulated losses, deferred expenditure and miscellaneous expenditure not written off as per the audited balance sheet, but does not include reserves created out of revaluation of assets, write back of depreciation and amalgamation. The term notification means a notification published in the official gazette, and the expression notified shall be construed accordingly. The term officer includes any director, manager or key managerial personnel or any person in accordance with those directions, with whose directions or instructions the board of directors or any one or more of the director is or are accustomed to act. This is one important definition. Officer who is in default. For the purpose of any provision in this act which enacts that an officer of the company who is in default shall be liable to any penalty or punishment by way of imprisonment, fine or otherwise, means any of the following officers of a company, namely whole-time director, key managerial personnel. Where there is no key managerial personnel, such director or directors as specified by the board in this behalf, and who has or have given his or their consent in writing to the board to such specification, or all the directors if no director is so specified. So, one should not become an officer who is in default to get rid of any penalty, punishment, imprisonment, fine or otherwise both. So, any person who or under the immediate authority of the board or any key managerial personnel is charged with any responsibility including maintenance, filing, distribution of accounts or records, authorizes, actively participates in, knowingly permits or knowingly fails to take active steps to prevent any default. Any person in accordance with whose advice, directions or instructions the board of directors is accustomed to act other than a person who gives advice to the board in a professional capacity. Every director in respect of a contravention of any provisions of this Act, who is aware of such contravention by virtue of the receipt by him of any proceedings of the board or participation in such proceedings without objecting to the same, or where such contravention had taken place with his consent or convenience. In respect of the issue or transfer of shares of a company, the share transfer agent, registrars and merchant bankers to the issue of transfer. So, we saw who all will come under officers in default if they make any default or contravene the provisions of the Companies Act 2013. The term official liquidator means an official liquidator appointed under subsection 1 of section. One person company means a company which has only one person as a member. Ordinary or special resolution means an ordinary resolution, or as the case may be, special resolution referred to in section 114. Ordinary resolutions are taken at the meetings and special resolutions are taken in the extraordinary general meetings. Paid up share capital or share capital paid up means such aggregate amount of money credited as paid up as is equivalent to the amount received as paid up in respect of shares issued, and also includes any amount credited as paid up in respect of shares of the company, but does not include any other amount received in respect of such shares, whatever name called. The term postal ballot means voting by post or through any electronic mode. Prescribed means prescribed by rules made under this Act. Previous company law. So there may be rules as per the Companies Act 2013, or it may be under previous company law. So the previous company law means any of the laws specified below. Acts relating to companies in force before the Indian Companies Act 1866, the Indian Companies Act 1866, Indian Companies Act 1882, Indian Companies Act 1913, the Registration of Transferred Companies Ordinance 1942, Companies Act 1956, and any law corresponding to any of the aforesaid acts or the ordinances and in force. Then the Portuguese Commercial Code, in so far as it relates to Sociedades Anónimas, the Registration of Companies, Sikkim Act 1961. According to section 2 subsection 68, the term private company means a company having a minimum paid up share capital as may be prescribed and which by its articles restricts the right to transfer its shares, except in case of one person company limits the number of its members to 200, provided that where two or more persons hold one or more shares in a company jointly, they shall for the purpose of this clause be treated as a single member, provided further that persons who are in the employment of the company, persons who, having been formerly in the employment of the company, were members of the company while in that employment and have continued to be members after the employment ceased, shall not be included in the number of members, prohibits any invitation to the public to subscribe for any securities of the company. The term promoter means a person who has been named as such in a prospectus or is identified by the company in the annual return referred to in section 92, or who has control over the affairs of the company directly or indirectly, whether as a shareholder, director or otherwise, or in accordance with whose advice, directions and instructions the board of directors of the company is accustomed to act, provided that nothing in subclause C shall apply to a person who is acting merely in a professional capacity. The term prospectus means any document described or issued as a prospectus and includes a red herring prospectus referred to in section 32 or shelf prospectus referred to in section 31, or any notice, circular, advertisement or any document inviting offers from the public for the subscription or purchase of any securities of body corporate. The term public company, according to section 2 subsection 71, the term public company means a company which is not a private company, has a minimum paid up share capital as may be prescribed, provided that the company which is subsidiary of a company not being a private company shall be deemed to be public company for the purpose of this act, even where such subsidiary company continues to be a private company in its articles. Public financial institution means the LIC, the Life Insurance Corporation of India, established under section 3 of the Life Insurance Corporation Act 1956. The IDFC, the Infrastructure Development Finance Company Limited, referred to in clause of subsection 1 of section 4A of the Companies Act 1956, so repelled under section 465. Specified company referred to in the Unit Trust of India. Institutions notified by the central government. Such other institution as may be notified by the central government in consultation with the Reserve Bank of India, provided that no institution shall be so notified unless it has been established or constituted by or under any central or state act. Not less than 51% of the paid up share capital is held or controlled by the central government or by any state government, or governments, or partly by the central government and partly by one or more state governments. Recognized stock exchange means a recognized stock exchange as defined in clause F of the section 2 of the Securities Contract Regulation Act 1956. Examples are National Stock Exchange, Bombay Stock Exchange. Register of Companies, ROC, means the register of companies maintained by the registrar on paper or in any electronic mode under this act. The term registrar means an registrar, an additional registrar, a joint registrar, a deputy registrar or assistant registrar having the duty of registering companies and discharging various functions under the Act. The term related party with reference to a company means a director or his relative, a key managerial personnel or his relative, a firm in which a director, manager or his relative is a partner, a private company in which a director or manager is a member of director, a public company in which a director or manager is a director or holds along with his relatives more than 2% of its paid-up share capital. Any body corporate whose board of directors, managing director or manager is accustomed to act in accordance with the advice, directions or instructions of a director or a manager. Any person on whose advice, directions or instructions as a director or manager is accustomed to act. Provided that nothing in subclauses 6 and 7 shall apply to the advice, directions or instructions given in a professional capacity. Any company in which a holding subsidiary or an associate company of such company, a subsidiary of a holding company to which it is also a subsidiary, such other person as may be prescribed. So now let us look the meaning of the term related. So related should refer to related party transactions. Related with reference to any person means anyone who is related to another if there are members of a Hindu undivided family, they are husband and wife, or one person is related to the other in such manner as may be prescribed. The term remuneration means any money or its equivalent given or passed to any person for services rendered by him and includes perquisites as defined under the Income Tax Act 1961. Schedule means a schedule annexed to this act. At the end of the Companies Act, Schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are annexed, attached to it. The term schedule bank means the schedule bank as defined in Clause E of Section 2 of the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. The term securities means the securities as defined in Clause H of Section 2 of the Securities Contract Act 1956. SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board, means the Securities and Exchange Board of India, established under Section 3 of the Securities and Exchange Board of India Act 1992. Serious Fraud Investigation Office means the office referred to in Section 211. Share means a share in the share capital of a company and includes stock. The term small company means a company other than a public company, paid up share capital of which does not exceed 50 lakh rupees or such higher amount as may be prescribed, which shall not be more than 5 crore rupees. So the paid up share capital should be between 50 lakhs and 5 crore rupees, or turnover of which as per its last profit and loss account does not exceed 2 crore rupees or such higher amount as prescribed, which shall not be more than 20 crore rupees. So paid up share capital should be between 50 lakhs, should not exceed 50 lakhs, and turnover should not exceed 2 crores, and such higher amount can be prescribed, which is up to a limit of paid up share capital of 5 crores and turnover of 20 crores. Provided that nothing in this clause shall apply to a holding company or a subsidiary company, a company registered under Section 8, a company or body corporate governed by any special act. The term subscribed capital means such part of the capital which is for the time being subscribed by the members of a company. The term subsidiary company or subsidiary in relation to any other company, that is to say the holding company, means a company in which the holding company controls the composition of the board of directors, exercises or controls more than 1/2 of the total share capital either at its own or together with one or more of its subsidiary companies, provided that such class or classes of holding companies may be prescribed shall not have layers of subsidiaries. So layers of subsidiaries beyond such numbers as may be prescribed. Explanation. For the purpose of this clause, a company shall be deemed to be a subsidiary company of the holding company even if the control referred to in subclause 1 or subclause 2 is of another subsidiary company of the holding company. The composition of a company's board of directors shall be deemed to be controlled by another company if that other company, by exercise of some power exercisable by it as its discretion, can appoint or remove all or a majority of the directors. The expression company includes any body corporate. The term layer in relation to a holding company means its subsidiary or subsidiaries. According to section 2, subsection 88, the term sweat equity shares means such equity shares as are issued by a company to its directors or employees at a discount or for consideration other than cash, for providing their know-how, for making available rights in the nature of intellectual property rights or value additions by whatever name called. Total voting power in relation to any matter means the total number of votes which may be cast in regard to that matter on a poll at a meeting of a company if all the members thereof or their proxies having a right to vote on that matter are present at the meeting and cast their votes. The term tribunal means National Company Law Tribunal constituted under section 408. The term turnover, the sales. The turnover means the aggregate value of the realization of amount made from the sale, supply or distribution of goods or on account of services rendered or both by the company during a financial year. The term unlimited company means a company not having any limit on the liability of its members. The term voting right means the right of a member of a company to vote in any meeting of the company or by means of postal ballot. Whole-time director includes a director in the whole-time employment of the company. Chapter 1 comes to an end. We will discuss chapter 2 in the next video. Thank you.